Hey, welcome to Dirty Shirt Workshop. Today I'm troubleshooting the oscillating axle on this JLG H340 boom lift. So what the problem is, these lockout cylinders here, what they're supposed to do is they're constantly touching the axle, and when it hits a bump, one goes up, the other one goes down. Then when you turn the boom to the side, it pressurizes both of them and locks them so that the machine won't tip because of the oscillating axle, and that only goes away once you come back to center. However, this machine doesn't do that, and when I got it, the cylinders weren't even touching the axle. I've since fixed it and figured out what was wrong, and it was really simple. I'm going to show you what that is. So first thing I'm going to do is show you what you're going to get on your analyzer computer. So definitely get you one of these analyzer computers. They're freaking awesome. They tell you a lot. So we're going to go over here into diagnostics. Then we want to go over to system inputs. This tells us what the machine thinks is happening, all the limit switches and pressure switches and things. And right here we see our oscillating axle switches. So these control the hydraulics. They're both closed because they're not putting any pressure. Then we see the pressure switch. It says closed and the pressure says high. So the machine already thinks these switches are locked, or that the pressure is high in the axle, so it doesn't need to do anything. So that's the real problem. So I looked up on the diagram in the book on this, and the valve control block for this unit for the oscillating axle is actually right here underneath the turntable. So I crawled under there, and there's one wire for the pressure switch. I disconnected it and then took my ohm meter, did continuity test across the pressure switch. It says it's open, so there's no reason this machine should think that switch is closed. Then I start looking at the other wiring. So the wire that was going to that switch had a nice little tag on it. It said HV239. Then I started looking at the switch wires going to the coils. There's an HV238 going to one of the other coils, and the other coil has an unlabeled wire going to it. So I look in the book because one thing I want to do is disconnect one of the wiring harnesses. There's 4 big wiring harnesses going in here for the control body into the control module. And I want to be able to disconnect it so I could ohm out the wires and make sure they weren't shorted. Well, I look in the book, and this is HV238 and 239 are the solenoid control circuits. So HV, like hydraulic valve, makes perfect sense. That wire should be going to the valve. So I got a valve wire going to a switch, and then switch sensing wire going to a valve coil. Well, if you put a valve coil in there, they're only like 1 ohm. So then the machine is going to think that that's a short, meaning the switch is closed. So I just swapped them, and the machine works fine now. So I swapped them back just to show you that on the computer. So I'll switch them again, and then we'll fire it up and look at the computer again. Okay, so here we go. Now that switch is open. That's where it should read. And low pressure. Perfect. So one other thing I noticed when I was under there is that this machine has been worked on. I think the turntable's actually been taken off, or the bearing's been serviced or something. Show you a picture on the screen here. So you see the turntable bolts have little white lines on them that line up, some of them, to white lines on the frame. That's a thing they do at the factory so that you know that the bolts haven't moved. These are all torqued right. They're where they're supposed to be. They're not loose, but that's a good way when you're evaluating a machine. If you go to check one out, you can see that some work's been done. So if you're set up where you can actually go physically look at the machine, and particularly buy it from the original buyer, ask for their maintenance and service records when you see stuff like that. If it's not in the maintenance records, you know something else has happened on that machine and they didn't document it. So you might want to stay away from that one. So buttoned up. I'm going to get it off the 2 ramps here, because you need to be on just one ramp to do the oscillating axle test. So I'll do that and show you that the system's actually working just fine. So the way this test works, you drive up on a 6-inch ramp with the boom straight. Then you turn the turntable until you go past the point where you need the override switch to move the machine. Then you go override, move the machine down, the axle will stay locked, and the wheel will stay off the ground. Then you move the boom back towards center, then it'll release, and that axle will go back down to the ground. The interesting thing with this that I notice now, as the axle oscillates, you'll hear the hydraulics kick on to keep the pressure up in those two cylinders. Should be far enough over. Yep, that move, out override. Wheel is still off the ground. Now I'll move back to center. So it's working. I'm happy about that. I don't like the fact that it just drops when you get towards center. That's something you definitely want the boom all the way down if you've moved it since you went up. You wouldn't want to be all the way up in the air, move the machine, be having a wheel in the air, and then have it drop. No good. So definitely something I have to keep in mind when I'm using this machine. But this is a great stability feature for you when you're on uneven terrain. I do have to say that I'm surprised the fix was this simple. Basically, I bought this machine and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The only thing that's wrong is that the bar that holds the sky guard got broken when I was shipping it. So I probably did that. So this oscillating axle, what really happened there, most likely whoever took it apart took the turntable off the machine for whatever service, maybe the main bearing, who knows what. When they put it back together, the technician just swapped two wires because those connectors are identical on the two solenoid valves and the pressure switch. Really, like if we were in a computer environment, even if you use the same connector, you'd swap the gender. So like the solenoid valves would both be one way, and then the pressure switch would have the opposite connector so that you connect those wrong. But really, as a manufacturer, it would be, if you want to keep the same connectors so you keep your bomb list shorter, swap the gender on those. Although I guess the connector is integrated on the valve, so yeah, manufacturing changes. It's silly, but the PC industry had this stuff figured out way back in the 80s. You could not connect a PC wrong. They're still more or less built that way. Even the USB connectors that look the same, but you gotta turn it over 3 times before it goes in, right? Right? So I'm glad it was this easy. Sorry I don't have anything real to teach here other than, yeah, check the book, make sure things are wired up correctly. You may not have any mechanical problems at all. Definitely check that before you buy parts. Seriously. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.